Shalom, family. Welcome back to the channel where we break down the scriptures with clarity, precepts, and truth. I want to welcome you if you're here for the first time. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the family. This is where edification meets defense of the gospel. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any lessons, street teachings, rebuttals, or deep dives into the word. Let's get into it. Today, family, I know it's been a while. We're going to pick up on part two, and we're dealing with to flee or the Exodus. What do we do? So, without further ado, if you have your pens, paper, and Bibles available, we're going to get started with this lesson, and we're going to pick up right where we left off. Dealing with the flee or Exodus, there's a lot of confusion within the children of Israel. You have some people who are teaching that if you're a part of the Church of Philadelphia, we must flee into this wilderness and prepare ourselves to get away from the trials and tribulations that is coming not only to the lands, but even to some of the children of Israel. And this is something that was presented to me on my TikTok. So I decided to address some of the verses that have been added and may have been misinterpreted. And I just wanted to bring some clarity. And if you have your Bibles ready, we're going to walk through these precepts together. One of the first verses that they go to is going to be found in the book of Isaiah 26, and we're going to read verse 20 to 21. Screen here, book of Isaiah 26 and verse 20. It says, "Come, my people, enter into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpast." It says, "For behold, the Most High cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity, the earth also that disclosed her blood, and shall no more cover her slain." So this has created a doctrine of flea doctrine, if you will. And we're going to go over these verses together. Shalom, welcome to everyone that's coming into the live. Um, we're gonna we're gonna go through these precepts together, and I want you to pay close attention to the verses that are on the screen. And this is the verse or verses that Christians and some Israelites misuse or misinterpret. As you see on the screen, the claim that is being made, they say that this is a command and a command for us to flee physically. Israelites must leave lands now, and that this proves a future wilderness escape. This interpretation ignores context, language, and precept. So we're going to deal with the first point. When it says enter thy chambers, it's not geographic. This is not a location. Okay. The Hebrew idea of chambers does not mean tents, deserts, or mass relocation. Chambers in scriptures consistently mean inner rooms, protection, concealment, spiritual covering, separation from judgment. We're going to look at a few precepts to prove this. Let's go to Psalms chapter 91 and verse 1. Psalms 91 verse 1 says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Again, we see that he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High. Let's look at another precept found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18 and verse 10. It says, "The name of the Most High is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. So the name of the Most High is a strong tower. Keep that in mind. Excuse me. Isaiah, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 4, and we're going to read verse 5 and 6. And it reads as follows. It says, "And the Most High will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, and upon her assemblies a cloud and smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the glory shall be a defense. And there shall be a tabernacle for a shadow in the daytime from the heat, and a place of refuge, and for a covenant, uh, and for a covert, Salakia, from storm and from rain." So a tabernacle for a shadow, not a location change. Keep that in mind. If Isaiah 26 meant physically fleeing, it would say so plainly like other texts do. So we're going to look at another key point. The second key point we have to take into consideration is this is about waiting, not moving. The phrase "hide thyself for a little moment." We put that verse back on the screen as I elaborate on what it is that I'm saying. Where it says "hide thyself for a little moment," okay, until the indignation be overpassed. Many people aren't really familiar what this phrase means. It means remain under obedience, endure judgment, be preserved spiritually, and do not panic. Do not relocate. You can't outrun judgment. Okay, so the same language is used in other places also throughout Scripture. And one of those places is found in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 3. Through thy precepts we get understanding. So in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2 and verse 3, it says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end of it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." It says, though it tarry, wait for it. Listen to the language being spoken. Let's look at another one found in Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 15. This is why it's so important to utilize precepts, family. This is how we get understanding. In the book of Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 15, we're dealing with fleeing or the second Exodus. In verse 15, it says, "For thus saith the Most High, the Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, and ye would not." In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Keep that in mind. Next witness, Lamentations chapter 3, verse 26. Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 26. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with this doctrine, fleeing or exodus. As you can see from the depiction, there are many people that are teaching like, yeah, we have to get out of here. We have to physically do things within our own power. And then you have people that are studying and waiting for the guidance of the Most High. They're following the words of the Most High. Okay? So when we're dealing with these types of doctrines and understandings, we have to make sure that we're not deviating from the scriptures and leaning into our own understanding. In Lamentations chapter 3, verse 26, it tells us, "It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Most High." It's good. Waiting doesn't equal fleeing. Keep that in mind. So we done looked at two key points and we followed that up with precepts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at a third key point. The judgment is global, not location based. So when we go to Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 21 again, repetition is necessary because as we repeat some of these verses, we get them in our spirit. And as you put your eyes upon it and you go back and study this out in your own time, it will begin to make more and more sense each and every time. In Isaiah 26, verse 21, it says, "For behold, the Most High cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain." I want you to pay attention to the phrase where it says, the Most High cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth. If judgment is global, fleeing does nothing. You cannot outrun economic collapse. You cannot not outrun war, plagues, or spiritual judgment. So this matches what we read about when we go to the book of Amos chapter 9 in verse 2 and 3. Amos chapter 9 and verse 2 says, "Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Though they dig into hell, though they climb up to heaven." You hear and see many people who have prepared bunkers and they build these buildings and underground and some even underwater or in mountainous terrains, trying to hide from judgment. You can't escape it. The scriptures are clear. You can't run from it. So when you have a mass of people teaching a doctrine of fleeing and in your own power, we're going to discover that the scriptures is not built off of confusion. It's very precise and very clear. There is no escape by geography. The fourth point that we're going to look at is the context of Isaiah 24 through 26 is a song of trust, not escape. Isaiah 26 is a song of confidence, not evacuation instructions. Keep that in mind. Earlier verses say in Isaiah 26 and 3, watch this. Isaiah 26 and verse 3. It says, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee." Right? You want to be in perfect peace? Keep your mind on the Most High when all chaos is breaking out around you. In Isaiah 26 and verse 7, it says, "The way of the just is uprightness, Salakia. Thou most upright dost weigh the path of the just." The way of the just is upright. Peace plus stability, not fear plus fleeing. It creates panic. The key point is when scriptures mean flee, it says flee. When we compare this to Matthew 24, 15 to 16, watch this. Precepts are a beautiful thing when you rightly divide the word of truth. Book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 15. And I understand that there are so many doctrines out here nowadays, and there are people that are sincerely hungry for the truth. Matthew 24, 15 to 16 says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, when you see these things, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains." You see that? Then let them which be in Judea, when you see all these things happening, flee into the mountains. Clear and precise instructions. You don't have to second guess. You don't have to get someone to try to interpret this for you. He's given instructions to his people on what to do. When you see these abominations, when you see these things happening, let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Jeremiah 51 and verse 6. This lesson is going to be straight and to the point. It's not going to be long and drawn out. In verse 6, it says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Most High's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon, right? Zechariah 2, verses 6 to 7. In Zechariah chapter 2, verse 6, it says, ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith the Most High, for I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heaven, saith the Most High. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. These verses name location, they give direction, and they identify timing. Okay? This is very important. Okay? In the book of Isaiah 26, it does none of that. Those verses that we read in Isaiah 26, I'm gonna have it on the screen again. It doesn't give you those same clues, right? So we have someone that is interpreting this and is causing chaos and panic. The verses we read previously, they named locations, they gave directions, and they identified timing. And when we deal with these verses, and we're dealing with the verses that we've heard some of our brothers and sisters bring out, it doesn't give us that same information. The sixth point is this matches Passover pattern, not Exodus. Israel did not flee Egypt first. They stayed inside. They shut the doors. They were protected while judgment passed. Poof. That's proof. We're going to see some examples of this in Exodus chapter 12, verse 22 to 23. Some of our people, I know we're ready, we're tired, we're ready to get out of here, but we have to be obedient. We have to be obedient to the words of the Most High. Verse 22 to 23 says, and ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out at the door of his house until the morning. For the Most High will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Most High will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. Okay? None of you shall go out at the door until the morning. Same language, same concept, same protection model. Okay, so Isaiah 26, verses 20 to 21. And allow me to pull this on the screen again. Isaiah 26, verses 20 to 21. When we see these verses teach us spiritual protection, obedience during judgment, waiting on the Most High. It teaches trust, not relocation. It does not teach wilderness escape doctrine, mass fleeing, leaving nations early, panic-driven movement. Okay, if Isaiah 26 was a flee command, it would name where to go. Instead, it tells Israel to stay put, shut the door, and wait on the Most High. Okay, so when we see these verses and when we hear these particular doctrines, dealing with, are we fleeing? Are we doing things in our own power? Remember to be obedient to the Most High. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And again, this was not going to be a long lesson, but I wanted to just bring this to add to the videos. I haven't put out a lot of videos in a while. And just wanted to add this to give some brothers and sisters some things to go back and look into if you should hear this doctrine. Okay. So, with that being said, this is going to conclude the lesson for today. And I pray that you're blessed and that this information was of somewhat helpful to you in your studying. Remember, it is better to obey the Most High than man. And with that being said, family, we love you.